All right. So here it is, man. No fancy intros. It's too hot for all of that. All right. So welcome back to Ask Bros, man. The hot topic section. Yeah, the one where we take one topic and we strip it bare. And I've got obviously right the new star of Ask Bros, bro. I got Scunny with me tonight. What's going on, bro?
I'm all right, mate. And when you say hot topic, you're not fucking kidding.
No, I'm not. It's the
It's hot as
it's
balls, mate. It's as hot as balls.
I chose the right time to actually do this, man. I chose the right time. It's what 27 outside at the minute. It's
Yeah, I don't know what
sticky.
it is out my end, but it's not far off that. I wouldn't have thought.
And it's uncomfortable. I've got a fan directly in front of me. I'm not gonna show my face on camera because I'm very relaxed at the minute. So I don't want anybody seeing none of that stuff, man. I don't want to traumatize some people tonight, man. But what we're gonna do, man, if you've been watching Us Bros and you've been listening to Hot Topics, then you know exactly what we do on here. We take one, I wouldn't say burning topic. I say one we come out of. We kind of make up as we go along, and then we just strip it bare. So I want to take everybody on a journey, Scotty. This is what we're gonna do.
You've gone, mate. You cut out a bit there, Manny.
Because
Yep, your internet shit. Get that mouse moving on that wheel, mate.
can you hear me now, bro?
Yes, I can hear you now, mate.
Man,
It's awkward
I,
as hell. Like you're on your own here. You're like, what do I say?
but you could just say the easiest thing that you can say. That Sky Broadband fucking suck. I upgraded over the listen. I upgraded over the summer, bro, and I'm still getting issues. So right now I've got to do it on my 4G. At some point, I'm gonna have to go back on my Wi-Fi because I don't want to. I want to use all my data, bro. Ugh.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the crazy thing is, I'm right next to the router as well. This makes no
mate.
sense.
I've got my own issues with Sky Bro, and I'm with Sky Bro on the band as well.
Oh my god. Anyway, what I was saying before I was really interrupted by this stinking internet, man. So I want to talk about our transfer dealings, man, and particularly I want to see how dealings of the past, bro, are still having an effect on how we do business now. So I want to take you back to 2016, right? The summer of 2016. Xhaka comes through the door. Mustafi comes through the door. Lucas Perez comes through the door at a total of around about 88 million pounds, right?
Mm.
Then over the years, you have the Ozil deal, Mkhitaryan, Socrates. I just want to focus on the deals that we're still paying for now. So here we are in the summer of 2020, where how we do business is solely represented by what we do selling wise. And how we've done business, Scunny, is affecting how we do business now. So go back to 2016, brother. Where did we go wrong in the transfer market?
Where did we go wrong? Well, we got for me. I just think we overpaid for crap. In all fairness, you got to look at how much these players have cost us over the years. If you look at the likes of Xhaka, Mustafi, and everyone else, they were 35 million apiece. Between 30 and 35 million each. So there's 60, 70 million there. That's a lot of money, that. And when you think to yourself, right, okay, these guys, they'll last for a bit, they're doing a job for a couple of years, 3-4 years, maybe towards the end of the contract. Can we sell them on for either? Can we get? Sorry, excuse me. Can we get what we paid for him? Can we get rid of him and still be on, still balance the books with it, or can we sell him on for a higher fee? And this is the issue I think Arsenal have had over the years. We just seem to be buying these terrible players for stupid amounts of money and not being able to sell them on, or not even have a chance to sell them on. And I think that's the issue. I think the last person we made any money on, or like big money, was Fabregas.
Ooh, really?
I think
Well,
so, yeah. I haven't looked into it. I should have done, really, but I do believe the last person we made any decent amount of money, only because we bought him when he was a youngster. But even still, I think, what did he go to Barcelona for? He's in the 40 million, 30, 40 million.
But to be honest with you, I don't even remember. Like it's been
I'm
that
just
far
going to double
back.
check. But yeah, I
It's
think that's the last person we sold on at a decent profit. Or a profit.
Oh my God. So out of all the players that I mentioned, Scotty, how many of them did you actually believe would still be at the club this summer?
If I'm being honest with you, I think all the ones that we said that we would like to get rid of, I think we've had plenty of podcasts in between here and, between then and now. But I do believe I honestly thought I didn't think we'd get rid of any this season.
I mean over the years, dude. I mean over the years when you've seen how they've performed, right? And when you've seen the kind of money that we've paid for them, when did you truly believe, right? When did you lose hope that we were going to get rid of some of the terrible signings that we've made for any kind of profit?
Out of everyone, I thought if we was going to sell on, and I think we should have sold on rather than a swap deal, it was Sanchez. I thought we would have got a decent sell on price.
See, that's a good shout, right?
Because if you remember the reports, he was meant to be going to Man City, and I think the year is it 6 months before he left, we got offered 60 million and we turned it down, and I think that was the biggest mistake we'd made with him.
So, I mean, listen, we could have cashed in on Sanchez, right? But the way we did business, we didn't have a replacement lined up in order to, use that money. So it just would have been wasted. So here we are in the summer of 2020, right? And it's been an active summer for Arsenal Football Club in terms of, backroom staff. There's been a lot of movement, but yet the one movement that I want to see is players leaving. But the players that are being linked with moves away are players that really and truly you want to keep, right? So where did we go wrong with a lot of these signings? Where did we go wrong with Mustafi? Where did we go wrong with Xhaka? Where did we go wrong in our transfer dealings to the point that 4 years after the fact, we are still here talking about how did we waste so much money on mediocre talent?
Oh, it's a bloody good question, that. And I've just seen a comment here. Barcelona paid 29 million euros for Fabregas, which, when you think about it, I think when he come as a kid, he was only like 300,000. So we made a good profit on him. But to go back to what you were saying, Manny, I really struggle about how we can make even a tiny bit of money off them, how we can even sell them and balance the books with them. It's difficult, mate. It really is. I just can't see the likes of, the players like Mustafi and Xhaka going anywhere now for even 30 million, let alone 35 million, or maybe even 20 million. So it's a struggle, and it's a good question, mate. I'm just struggling to answer it because I just don't know. Are you still there?
Serious. I'm having some serious tech issues over here with this ridiculous fucking broadband. Correct? Ridiculous. Anyway, moving right along, bruv. So I don't know, because I sat here and I tried to figure out exactly what we saw in a lot of these players that made us offer them the kind of wages and the kind of transfer fees that nobody else wanted to offer them. Arsenal Football Club is a huge institution, and we prided ourselves on making the right signings at the right times and selling them at the right time. So it becomes a problem when you sign Mustafi for 35 million and you are adamant that this is the guy who's going to take us forward, but then nobody wants him.
Exactly.
But then nobody wants him. So what did we see in these players that made us go, you know what? This is the guy I want to offer 100K to. This is the guy I want to invest my future in. All right. And here we are now, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years down the line. We're in a position where we are going to make zero profit on players that we signed for astronomical money. That's the way I see it. So moving on from that, bro, moving on, because clearly the past has affected what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So how do we rectify this? Because when you look at other clubs, when you look at Liverpool, when you look at City, when they got Pep and Klopp in, it took them 2 years, right, to get rid of players and to bring new players in. I'm including Liverpool in this because of the way they've done business. Somehow they've managed to get a profit from Benteke, from Sacco, Lucas Leiva, Lovren. These are awful footballers, yet somehow Liverpool were able to maximize the market and get as much for rubbish talent. Scunny, how the fuck have we missed the boat on doing the same kind of business as Liverpool?
Well, Hambo Gumball made a good comment there. I completely forgot about Iwobi.
I completely forgot about Iwobi as well, to be honest with you.
That's how much of an impact on me, mate.
But here's the thing, Iwobi, right? The difference between Iwobi is he was an academy guy, so wherever he was going to go for, it was going to be a profit. I'm talking about players that we've scouted and we used stat DNA and that we, used our time and effort to go and get.
Guys who
massive difference.
The first team.
Exactly, massive difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And mate, to say that we're not going to get a penny for them, really, it is a joke. And I think someone else made a comment in the chat as well. I think it was Charlie George again. It all went wrong when David Dean left. With all these players coming in, and I think that's the issue that we've had. You see, the people that have replaced the people that have replaced David Dean over the years. You've got to look at we've had the Ivan Gazidis, and then we've had Raul after him. I think it's these type of people that they see something in these players. I don't know what they see, but they see something in these players, and no one else sees it. I don't understand what they're seeing in these players to think to themselves, right, I'm going to give that club 35 million for that player because I think he's worth it. Comes across, right, you're going to be on, I'm going to give you 100k a week and I want you to do what you've been doing for your previous club that you was at. Do your job, get on with it, let's see how you go. And they've just failed miserably.
But my biggest worry is the fact that we've done it over and over and over again. And the people that we had in charge, Scunny, these aren't people who, are inexperienced. These aren't people who don't know how football works. So I wonder, Lee Hagen does make a good point. I'm going to highlight this comment here, right?
Yeah.
The Ox went for profit.
I forgot.
I completely forgot about Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. Completely forgot about Oxlade-Chamberlain. But Lee, you make a good point. But here's the thing. Iwobi's and Oxlade-Chamberlain are only two examples that you can actually point out and go, you know what, we made money. Potts, where the hell have you been?
Man, you know where I've been. Guns overrun yet again.
Well, was there too many people on there again?
No, man. Actually, there was only 4 of us, but there was a huge delay, loads of technical issues, man. It was quite weird. Fergus was outside. Trevor had a massive delay. Richard couldn't have his iPhone on. It was a disaster to start with, mate. But that's why I overrun. So sorry, boys, but I'm here now, man. How you boys been, all right?
Man, I'm having tech issues on myself right now, dude. It's not fun. I'm sitting right next to my router and I'm doing this on my 4G. It's ridiculous. Sky broadband yet again, bro. Even with the upgrade, I'm still having issues. Yeah, but where we're at, Potts, because you actually come at the right time, so I can get your opinion on this, man, because I've been grilling Scotty on this one now. Now, I mentioned Xhaka, I mentioned Mustafi, I mentioned Mkhitaryan, we mentioned, Iwobi, Oxlade-Chamberlain, we mentioned all of these players that have come and gone in the last 4 years, right? And we've spoken about how have we continuously not made a profit off of the talent that we've got through the door. Potts, what has gone wrong with how Arsenal Football Club have done business? Only focus on the last 4 years, though. Only focus since the summer of 2016. How have we continuously made bad decisions in the transfer market, bro?
Man, two things: bad business and poor recruitment. So you look to start with the poor recruitment. Yeah. Now I don't care whoever you sign. There's always a risk when you sign a player. But there's a difference between having to be a risky player and not doing your homework. And Arsenal are guilty of not doing their homework. And the reason I say that is because when you get the opportunity to buy Virgil van Dijk and N'Golo Kante and you opt to go for Mustafi and Xhaka, there's problems. There's issues at your football club. There's issues in your recruitment. There's issues in your business. And when you get given 70 millions to buy pounds to buy on two players, you choose them to. Now, people will say Mustafi won the World Cup, but what was it that you thought he was going to bring to the team? What was it you thought that Granit Xhaka was going to bring to the team? Because if you wanted somebody to be liability at the back and somebody to slow your midfield down, then I'd say, great, you've got what you wanted. But at the moment, we're looking at the situation and they're still there. So the answer to your question about not just the poor recruitment, but what's happened is poor business is the previous regime have messed this up. And we are still talking about it today. And I had a chat with you, Manny, about it. And I said, do you know what? I don't like talking about the past. I don't like talking about when Arsenal lost 8-2. I don't like talking about when Arsenal were 4-0 up against Newcastle and threw it away. But the reason I bring these players up is because they're still here. And the reason I bring the previous regime up is because they have had the knock-on effect, which we are still talking about today. Look at some of these players. We cannot get rid of them. We can't get rid of Kolasinac. Ozil is stinking out the place because he's on 350k a week, which nobody can afford. So he's staying for another year. Mustafi's injured, but even if he wasn't, who's going to pay him 90k a week? So we're looking at this situation now, and we've got to try and make, say, £90 million to go and buy Houssem Aouar and Thomas Partey, apparently. But how are we going to make that when these players are stuck there? So poor recruitment and poor business management, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, no plan, just going out there and buying what they think they know what they want, but there's no understanding of what they want. And I'm talking about not just Ivan Gazidis, but I'm talking, and Wenger, I'm talking about Emery and Raul, because we were talking yesterday, Manny, about the novices and the experts. The so-called novices are Edu and Arteta, and they're sweeping up the mess made by these so-called experts in Gazidis. And I still don't trust Vinay and all that shit, you know? I still don't trust Vinay.
We're going to get to that.
I'm just going to get a quick point on here. I know what you're saying about Shkodran Mustafi who won the World Cup. So did fucking Kleberson. So let's just rule that one out.
Great shout.
Like let's avoid that, Mustafi won the World Cup shit. Let's just avoid that completely. See,
yeah, please.
Something interesting has come out, right? And we talk about the bang average players being on high wages. Now the issue that we have is we have a player like Kolasinac, right? It was being linked with Schalke. Now apparently Kolasinac wants to go home. He wants to go back to Schalke, right? But the problem we have is he comes out allegedly and goes, you know what? I've had a conversation with Arteta and I want to stay. For me, that says nobody is going to offer me the kind of money that Arsenal are offering me. So I'm just going to sit on my hands here and I'm going to do an Ozil and I'm going to just run my contract down. How have we continuously allowed players to do these things and get away with it over the years, boys? How do we keep on making these bone fucking idle mistakes where we are lazy with our recruitment? We get players in, we stick them on astronomical wages, and then they come out with statements of, I want to fight for my place. Because for me, that says nobody's going to offer me the money that you're offering me, so I'm just going to sit on my hands. How have we let this get to this, boys?
We've let it get to it because we've had a weak management team. There's no other way about it, and that is amazing, by the way.
Man, Dave Atkinson is my biggest fan. Do you know what? Dave Atkinson watches same old Arsenal, Guns and Arsenal, the three that I'm on, man. Dave, big up, Dave. I love Dave.
The reason why we're in this situation, Manny, is because we've had a weak and poor management team. It goes further than the actual the head coach, manager, whatever you want to call them these days. It goes further back than that. If you look at the, like people in the position that Edu's in now and, gone by like Raul, Vianney, Gazidis, they've all been weak.
Who the hell is Vianney?
Vinay, you mean
Vinay, that's one. Oh, fucking no.
Same thing.
No, I don't give a shit.
No, but
you know what I'm saying. The weak.
No, but seriously, listen. It's one thing with being weak, right? Can you guys hear me? By the way,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I had to reset my Wi-Fi, so I'm hoping this is gonna stick around until we get through this shit, right? So listen, there's one thing about being weak, and then there's another by being hamstrung by decisions that were made by people who were in power before you got there. So can we really blame Raul and Vinay and Edu and Arteta now if Mesut Ozil and Kolasinac go, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna and I'm going to run down my contract. Can we really blame them when it wasn't them that put them on these astronomical wages in the first place?
Yes, you can.
How so?
I think you can blame him. Why aren't they trying to get rid of him? Why aren't they just kicked him out the door and said, look, there's your contract, fuck off?
Yeah, but see, Scotty, it's not that simple, though.
The thing is, it is that simple. That's the thing. It's all right saying, oh, let's let him rot and let him do what they want. But at the end of the day, these guys are on 350 grand a week. Why aren't they going to their agents and saying, right, we need you gone. What can we do? If they're going to be really, really refusal, you just got to push them out the door. Give them away. Say, look, pay me £1 to take Ozil off our hands. You'd do it just to get rid of him. That's the difference, I think. But yeah, like Trev said there, if you are Ozil, of course you're going nowhere. Nowhere else is going to pay you 350k a week. And that's the big issue. Now, this is what I'm saying. These guys like Raul, they are weak. They've obviously gone to him. They've said to him, look, we want you gone. He's come out and says, I'm not going anywhere. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave you where you are then. Piss off. That's weak.
Potts, let me ask you this, bruv. Right? Because it's not all doom and gloom. Right, with Arsenal Football Club, there's actually a lot of positive stuff that we can speak about, and we are going to speak about. I don't want to dwell too much in the negative, but as we do on Ars Bros, man, we like to keep it very, very real, and we like to keep it, we just like to speak the truth when nobody else wants to speak the truth. I know everybody's happy at the minute, but there are some issues that we need to speak about. So, Potts, right? Taking what Scotty just said here, how do we move on, and how do we proceed and go forward this summer? How do you see the remainder of the transfer window going for Arsenal Football Club?
I think personally, it is clear to see the Aubameyang signing was because he knows people are coming in. And I believe that the only 2 players left to get in. Actually, I'll say 3 because there's a lot of rumours that we've got this Icelandic goalkeeper now from Dijon. So that's cool, just to back up Martinez. The 2 players we want are Houssem Aouar and Thomas Partey. It's clear. We're not linked. We're normally linked with 15, 20 players. But at the moment, we need to sell before we buy. And the only players that look like going are the ones that can't really get us any money. So Socrates is going to go to Napoli for probably 5 million tops. Yeah, there's rumors he might even go for like 3 and just to get clear of his wages. So that's not going to do much there. But then you look at the situation with Torreira, who we believe has gone to Torino for 24 million, but we get that next year because the first season's on loan. Guendouzi will be the similar option, in my opinion. I believe Callum Chambers could be on the move to a Premier League side, and I don't think you're going to get any more than 12 to 15 million tops, and that's with add-ons because he's just injury prone. And then you look at Martinez going for 20. Now that's 89 million pounds. That's still not enough, we believe, to get Thomas Partey and Houssem Aouar through the door because they're going to cost, we believe, 45 million release clause for Partey and 55 million bid fee for Houssem Aouar. So we are going to need to do something around that and maybe borrow some money from Kroenke. Haha, very funny. He's never going to give us any money, but you get my point. So that's where I see the business going. I think that Arteta and Edu have a plan, unlike the previous regime. I think it's clear, and he made it clear in press conferences, apparently, when we were still planning Project Restart to the board, that he was very specific about positions and very specific about players. And that's what we've seen from Arteta. And it looks to me that the 5 players that he wanted were Willian, Gabriel, Dani Ceballos, Houssem Aouar, and Thomas Partey. And those 5 players have been the only ones that we have been heavily linked with. You always get the odd one. It's no surprise that the minute that Raul leaves, Coutinho's dead in the water. Because the agents and all this stuff that he's in bed with Kia Joorabchian or whatever his name is, that went dead in the water. So what is different with this regime to the last regime? We have a plan. I don't believe they had a plan before. So that's why I see this going. I think the Aubameyang deal is huge for us, and I think it's a great signing. But what I believe with it is the reason that he's done that is because of Hossein Aouar and Thomas Partey, all like-minded kind of players coming, either in January if we can't get both of them in this window. But I think they're the kind of players we're going to be looking to bring in, and we need to. But Manny, the biggest problem is clearing the shit out, bruv, because there is still quite a bit of shit at this club, mate, which we're going to find hard to shift.
We're going to find hard to shift because we just simply don't know how to do business, But it's hard to do business when you're offering people, Socrates, Kolasinac, Mustafi. When you have teams from Serie A going, yeah, I'd rather go and then get somebody else. I'd rather go and get Maldini out of retirement before I sign Mustafi. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot to offer teams. Hence why, we're in a position where we may have to cash in on players that we don't want to leave. Hence why, Maitland-Niles is being linked with a move away. These are players that we don't want to leave, but these are the kind of players that will get, money through the door at Arsenal. And Martinez, I believe, is the casualty of war. He's the first casualty of war, where he wants to go and play football. I totally understand that. I think he should be at a better club than Villa. That's just my personal opinion. But
I agree. I think they're going down. So yeah.
There's your casualty of war, where you have a goalkeeper who stepped up and who has saved us and got us an FA Cup, but he leaves because we need money that bad. There's the first casualty of war, and I have a feeling we're going to have another casualty of war, and we're going to be stuck with the players that we desperately want to get out of this club. Now, Scunny, Pot says that Edu and Arteta have a plan. Do you believe that, bruv?
Yeah, I think the first instincts of this transfer window, ever since they've sort of taken over, there is definitely a plan there. We've all been calling, how many Arsenal fans and how many of us have been calling for centre-backs? How long have we been saying it? We've been saying it for ages. And okay, Saliba, you can sort of, give a take, 'cause it was last year, but if you go to this year, we've got Gabriel as well. So that's two centre-backs. Okay, they're only young kids, but it's still two centre-backs. Not only that, the two big beasts of centre-backs. They're both 6'3", 6'5". So, they're only going to, if you're going to get given game time, they're only going to get better. And they're only going to get used to the league. So that's going to take a year or so, maybe a bit shorter, depending on how quickly they adapt to the game. That's going to be all good for us. But still, we've been calling for that for so long. And we've got it. We've been calling for, I don't know, we've been calling for ages now for just some clarity and just some movement to move Arsenal forward. And I think this signings of old, even back to 2016, there's only been maybe one or two signings you can think, yeah, actually, this guy's going to push us forward. This guy's going to push us forward. And I think there's only really been, like I say, one or two, and I think that's only really been Aubameyang and maybe, when did Sanchez sign?
Oh, Alexis, he signed in 2014 after the World Cup.
Yeah, that's right. So I think he was a major move. He was a major move when he first came in, and he did push the team forward. So, and there hasn't been many of them. And then we got Aubameyang, and then he's pushed the team forward, Mm-hmm. So there's not really been much in the way of, since then, much in the way of maybe pushing the team forward. But now you can see the difference in, like you say, like Dan was saying, look at the people that we're linked with. We are linked with, or heavily linked with. We've been heavily linked with some really good talent. Whereas before, if you look at who we were linked with, you look at Xhaka, you look at Mustafi, Per Mertesacker,
we can go even further back than that, man. God Canela, Solomon Kalou,
Kalou.
Ginter. Ginter,
Draxler.
This is what I mean. I mentioned this before on the Same Old Arsehole at one of Dan's podcasts. I said, can people just say, come into the chat and just say, look at the people who we've been linked with. And I tell you what, I've never seen the chat just keep going with names. Like, it just kept going and going and going and going. All the names. You had Trezeguet, you had Draxler, you had bloody, we've had so many.
They had to get Draxler in this time as well.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that one. Yeah.
Did you see that one? Guendouzi. I was thinking, no, Draxler's, what's he, 28 now?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Bro,
Or
he's only gonna
26 or something.
he's gonna be 27. I feel like I've been hearing this guy's name for decades.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been hearing Julian Draxler's name forever. Now hold on, I'm gonna answer this comment right here. Thoughts on links to Oscar? Fuck
Ugh.
off.
No.
Fuck right off. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not a chance. You can stay in China, mate. You went to China for a reason. Stay over there. Right?
Yeah,
Stay over
totally
there.
agree.
Just gonna stay over there. But let's move on to a bit more positivity, boys, because this
Just
summer.
remember, sorry, just before you go, mate, and just
All
remember this. I reckon Upper Meccano is going to be the new one. We're going to
Man,
be linked with every year.
leave that guy alone.
I'm telling you.
Leave that guy alone. Yeah, he's never coming to Arsenal. We missed the boat on that one. We missed the boat on that one. But the way I see it is, as we got an Upamecano through the door, I don't believe we get Gabriel. And yeah, just leave Upamecano alone. We didn't have the 60 million to buy him last summer. We're not gonna have the money to get the kid. All right, let's just leave that one alone. He's gonna end up at City, or he's gonna end up in Spain somewhere.
Manny, before you go on to the positivity, I just want to say one last thing, and that is hats off to Mkhitaryan, by the way, because he's gone and left a big contract to Arsenal for footballing reasons, because he's enjoyed his time over Roma. And apparently, according to the fans over there, he's done okay. And that is the difference between Mesut Ozil and Mkhitaryan. Mesut Ozil is on ridiculous wages, as is Mkhitaryan. One of them has left for footballing reasons. The other one's been told you've got no future, and he's happy to sit on the bench. That's all I wanted to say.
Man, bro, thank you for taking my fucking analysis from earlier, bro.
Sorry, bro.
No, listen. The thing with Mkhitaryan, right? It's very simple. Mkhitaryan represents what a lot of current Arsenal players do not represent, and that's football comes before money. Right? I don't know how much he's going to be earning at Roma, but he had a choice. Either I'm going to sit on the bench at Arsenal and not get my opportunity, or I'm going to go and play football at Roma, have a decent enough season, and then I'm going to go over there, sit down with my agent. There's ways to handle this, right?
This is the thing, isn't it? He mutually agreed to end his contract with Arsenal.
100%, because there's ways to handle it, Scunny, right? There's ways that you can't tell me if you genuinely want to play football, if you really believe that, yes, I want to play football, then you can go and play football, right? There are deals out there to be done. The thing that we have with a lot of players right now on big wages that we can't shift is that football does not matter to them. It's all about money. I look at Kolasinac. Kolasinac is not even ahead of Bukayo Saka at left back, right? He's not. But because he's on over 100k, nobody else is going to pay him 100k. So sitting still and sitting on the bench is more appealing than going out and playing football for peanuts. Same with Ozil. So you can't compare. I actually hats off to Mkhitaryan for that. Going, you know what? I want to go and play football. I'm 31 years old. I'm not going to get any younger. I need to go out here because I still feel like I can give something. Whereas when you put players on high wages and they get to a certain age, even if they can give something, they're not going to because the money's too good for them.
And you also go to the other end of the scale and look at the players that we've signed before that have taken a pay cut to come to the club. And the one that was most publicised is our current manager. Mikel Arteta took a pay cut to come and play for Arsenal. So you look at the other side of it for footballing reasons and think, do you know what? I am going to go and play to this club that I believe I can progress in and play first team football and do well at. And that's what football reasons is. And we haven't got enough of that nowadays in football. So I was really surprised, and hats off to Mkhitaryan there, mate. So I'm with you, Manny. I didn't know you'd already covered that though, mate. So my apologies.
No, man, I'm talking about in our own private conversations, man. Because,
right.
because the way I see it is, you know, even as crap as Mkhitaryan was for us, I respect him for going out there and still, you know, believing in his talent and going to Rome and actually showcasing his talent and going out there and securing another contract. You know what I mean? Because you don't know when you get to that age, big contracts are hard to come by. So he took a gamble and the gamble paid off. You have players that we've got players right now that can offer something to teams in less leagues like Serie A, like the French league, but won't do it because the money is just too good at Arsenal. Arsenal has become a retirement home for a lot of these players. But we move on to an era where there's been a lot of change at Arsenal, right? Not necessarily to the playing staff, but, you know, Raul has gone out the door. You know, the croaky voiced midget is out the door, right? And a lot of staff have lost their job. And we've put the footballing side of things in the hands of Arteta and Edu, right? Arteta now he's not even a head coach anymore. He's the manager, meaning some of the big decisions that are going to go on at Arsenal Football Club have to run by Mikel Arteta. Boys, how do you feel about that?
It's what I think is what we wanted. You know, it's okay being a head coach, but it wasn't working when we had Emery. You know, he had no decisions in what he came out after he was sacked by Arsenal and said, I wanted such and such, and I got this person. And then he wanted such and such, and he got the other person. So being a head coach, it must have been tough to, you know, to have someone saying to you, right, you're going to someone saying, right, I really need this type of player. This is the player, this, you know, I mean, say for argument's sake, I need a winger. I need an out-and-out winger who's going to run down the line and stick to the white line and cross balls in. Right, okay, yeah, I'll have a look at that for you. Next thing you know, someone else, you know, the buyer player, say, right, I bought you a centre-back. You're like, what the fuck? I didn't ask for a centre-back. I asked for a winger. So it must be difficult to be a head coach and have no say-so. And if anyone deserves it more with what he's done to the club by the way he's coached the club and the way we have moved forward, especially after Project Restart, the defensive-wise, attacking-wise, the counter-attacking-wise, he deserved that promotion to be a manager. You know, he solely deserves it, and it could have happened to a better person. And fortunately enough, it's with Arsenal, which makes it more exciting for us as fans to watch this person grow as a manager.
I agree. So, would you say, Potts, right, signing on Aubameyang is a sign that things at Arsenal are beginning to change for the better?
100%, mate. And the reason I say that is because it's not just him signing. Look at Saka and Martinelli signing. We're no longer letting our kind of youth prospects run down their contracts and leave and go and join Bayern Munich like we did with Serge Gnabry. We're no longer doing that. That's not happening we're under Arteta. The biggest compliment that we could have given him was to give him that job title. When people say, oh, it's just a job title, I don't really get it. And I was guilty of that when it happened. But that is them saying, we trust you. We are allowing you, with Edu, to work in partnership to be potentially the next Wenger and Dean and drive this club forward, because that's where I see it now. We're moving forward. Aubameyang signing, that to me means not only is it a great signing for the club and probably the most important of our transfer window, he's signed for a reason. And it's not just because he believes in what Arteta's doing. He believes that we're going to be seeing ambitious signings. We're going to be getting our Arsenal back. We're going to be fighting with the very best in the next 3 years or whatever it is he signed. So that for me is exciting for the club and the Arsenal as fans. I think what we're seeing now as well with Arteta is already, like we just mentioned earlier, we're seeing commanding centre-halves come in. We're looking at Thomas Partey, who will be that enforcer and that kind of midfield in transition. He's got a plan, and it seems to be touching base with the fans, and the fans are understanding it. It's transparent. He's came out in most of his press conferences, and he got me fixed on day one, Arteta. So we're starting to see now that what he is saying isn't BS. He's actually doing what he's saying. He was clear. It was specific in what he wanted. He said, be excited. He said, I've got backing. He said, just be trusting me. Aubameyang will sign. Nothing he said at the moment is BS. And how many times did we see Wenger come out saying, oh, I think Nasri and Fabregas are going to stay at the club. And then a month later, they're both gone. So you just want transparency as a fan. And I think everybody's trusting Mikel Arteta now. And we're liking what we see. We're liking what we see, boys.
You know what? Did you guys see the Adidas advert? The one for our new shirt, right?
Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
I liked it a lot. And there's been, if you saw Aubameyang's, that little montage that was put together for him as well. And there is this emphasis on, family and, this is my home and things like that. One of the things that I noticed with Arteta's reign so far is that it's not about the individual. It's about the collective. You cannot achieve anything if you are not as one. When Arteta took over this mess, I believe there was clans. I believe it was every man for themselves. I believe it wasn't a team. I believe it was toxic. I believe it was as divided as the world is right now, right? And now there's this emphasis on family. There's this emphasis on, like I said, the collective. Look at what we did when we won the FA Cup. It wasn't just one man, it was the collective. Even our performance against Fulham, it wasn't one man, it was the collective. Everybody is understanding where we're going. The players are on board and everybody wants to move forward. Those who aren't on board aren't playing football, right? Those who are not on the fucking ship, right? They are like Jack Dawson and Titanic. They're on the door freezing, right? They are freezing right now. Yeah, there's space on the door, but you know what? We're not gonna allow you there. We prefer you to freeze. And to be honest with you, boys, I like that. I like that. I like seeing Ceballos and then Nketiah fighting before the game. I like that, right? I like that. It just means that, yeah, I don't have to like you in order to play football with you. That's what I want, right? As long as we take to that football pitch, we do what we can as one to win this football game. And Arteta has drilled that into these people. And we're seeing with a lot of them, they're actually buying into it. And Aubameyang signing on is a huge sign that we are moving in the right direction, right? That's why I believe anyway. That's why I believe.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, mate. And I think the Ceballos re-signing on loan as well, I think that's another one. You know, he was massively eager to re-sign on loan. You know, he really wanted to come back to the club. And you can't fault that, can you? If it's someone who's that eager to try and get back to the club, then, all right, I know it's only another loan deal, but you never know. If things work out, we could be signing him next summer.
I would take a Ceballos loan at the minute if it means that at some point, if he has another if he carries on his form that he had in Project Restart throughout this season, and we actually do the right kind of business, I would love for us to actually sign Ceballos, because it seems that he has bought into. Even he was out in the cold when Arteta came in.
Yeah,
Arteta wasn't playing him. He was like, you know what? Yeah, your attitude is not what I want it to be. Arteta saw something in this dude, chin checked him, and he came back and put on numbers that you cannot deny what Dani Ceballos became, you know, during Project Restart. You can't. And this is not even our player, but he's bought into what Arteta is trying to do with us. So if this is a Real Madrid player that can buy into what, you know, another manager is doing, then there is no excuses for anybody else.
Exactly.
And I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited. Now, let's talk about Aubameyang, right? Let's draw into this Aubameyang thing for a second, because that's the big news of today, right? That's the big news of today, and it's just symbolic for Arsenal Football Club, because like we just touched on, a lot of players in the past, a lot of top players in the past, they've gone, they've jumped ship. They've jumped ship and they've gone, you know what, there's something better for me somewhere else. Aubameyang hasn't. He's chosen to stay. I am slightly worried though, boys. My worry is that we've signed on another player on the wrong side of 30 on huge wages, and we don't know what he's going to be like in a year. Do you believe that right, the way I'm feeling is correct, or am I way off the mark here?
I don't think you're way off the mark, but the difference is he is so important to this current team that we have to keep him at this moment in time. If it was a situation where it was risk because he's only just come back from a long-term injury, we don't know what he's going to be like when he returns from injury, I'd start to agree with you and think maybe that's a lot of money for someone who we don't think is going to play many games. I think Aubameyang has proved his fitness, he's proved his goal-scoring record, he's proved his worth, he's proved his importance, and he deserves 100% that contract. So for me, that's where it's different there. Aubameyang, like you say, Manny, he has stayed at a time where we needed him. Finishing 8th, he could look at that like Fabregas did, like Van Persie did, like Sanchez did, and the others, and go, no thanks. He's apparently rejected 2 bids. Now, from what we're rumors have been told, it's Barcelona and Real Madrid. If that's true, then you're looking at that situation and thanking the boss, because Arteta's kept him happy. He's kept him believing, and Aubameyang's happy to buy into this project. And I believe it is a great, great piece of business. Now, I totally agree with you. And it's nothing like the Mesut Ozil situation, because the Mesut Ozil situation was a panic. Oh, we can't lose both of these players for nothing. So then they put him on ridiculous wages when the guy was not even performing, in my opinion, and hadn't been for the last couple of seasons. So for me, Aubameyang, completely different situation. So important to the side. And I totally believe, boys, just finishing off, that the reason he is happy is not just because he's looking around him and thinking these players are good enough to win the league. He knows that we've got more players coming in, and those players coming in are going to excite the club moving forward. I truly believe that.
You really believe that, don't you?
I do, man. I do.
You really believe that he's been told, listen, we're trying to get these people, and you signing on will convince them to come even more. You truly believe that?
I'm not so sure it's that there will be the 2 players that we want in will be convinced that they'll come. But I believe he believes they're going to come, if that makes sense. So Arteta's said to him, listen, I'm going to get these 2 players into the club. And Aubameyang's like, I'll have some of that then. That's what I want to be seeing. I'm not so sure that Hassan Mawar and Thomas Partey will be saying, we'll come now just become Aubameyang sign. But I certainly think it could help. No doubt. I believe they're the 2 we're after, mate. I really do. And I'd love to see it happen.
So here's a question for you, Scotty, bro. Do you believe that Aubameyang would have stayed if the current climate was how it was last summer?
No.
You don't believe he would have stayed?
No.
Why not?
No. I think with everything that you were saying, I mean, similar to what you were saying, there was cliques, there was niches within the club. There was a lot of hostility, I would find, within the fans as well, with the club as well. So I think if anyone in the right mind, I think anyone would have jumped ship. They would have ran down the contract and probably jumped ship, even if they, if they couldn't get sold on first. For us, it's key for Arsenal. It was key to keep him. It makes sense why we've kept him and moved him onto a new contract. It does make sense, and it's good. It's a good move for the club. For him, yeah, I agree. He could have jumped ship, but he's seen what the club's become. He was there towards the end of Wenger's era. He was there during the Emery cock up, and now he's here. Yeah, exactly. And now he's here with Arteta. So he's seen the shite from Wenger at the end of his tenure, the shite from Emery, and now we've got Arteta who's moving the club forward. So he's seeing more than what we're seeing as fans. He's seeing the workings on the inside. He must have been excited by that, to think, actually, do you know what? This club is actually moving forward. They're doing exactly what I like. I'm happy here. I'm going to stay. He could have turned around and said, "Look, I'm retiring at the end of this season," or "Nah, I want a new challenge. I think this is it for me. After this season, I'm going to go." He didn't. He signed a contract. He must believe what we're all seeing. It's moving forward, and that is a good sign.
Is he world class, Scotty?
No.
You don't believe he's world class?
No.
Why not?
World class to me is someone who...
Don't say Messi.
What Messi was...
Man, Messi's a bitch.
Yeah, he is now. But what Messi was, someone like... I'm going to say Ronaldo. He came from Portugal to England. He actually took it. He took the Premier League by storm. He left. He went to Real Madrid. He took Spain by storm. He left Real Madrid, went to Juventus in Italy. He even smashed it there. And look, how old is he now? 35, 36?
Like 34, something like that.
Oh, sorry, I've got a couple of years going on him. And he's 34 and he's still scoring so many goals and he's still running ragged round there. That, to me, is someone who's world class.
So what's Aubameyang then, if he's not world class?
Bracket below it, I suppose.
Yeah. Slightly below.
So how does he become world class in your eyes, Scotty? How does he become world class? Considering what he's done, right? Considering he's come to the Premier League and considering he scored what 70 was it 70 over 70 goals in 111 appearances. So what does he need to do in your mind to make him world class?
I don't know, mate. I really don't. To me, it's got to be something special. I've got to see something really, really special this season. If he comes out, knocks a block running, and gets 20 odd goals this season, or towards the 30 end mark, I'm not trying to be not unrealistic here, and just say, look, knocks out of the park, gets himself a golden boot, takes the team as a captain to top 4, then I'd probably change my opinion.
Bloody hell, man! You're a tough man to please, Scotty. You know what I mean?
Mate,
it's not just him, you know.
I think world class gets thrown around way too easily. Look,
I do
I'm
too.
I'm going to take this one for instance, Aguero. And
okay,
Aguero to me is not world class. He's a great player, and I really think Aguero is one of them who's at the top end of that. His strike rate is world class. I agree. I just don't know. He is slightly world class for me, and I just don't. I rate Aguero really highly. I really do, but I just don't think he's world class.
Bloody Potts.
I kind of get where he's coming from, though, Manny. I know it's funny. I know it's world class. What does he mean? What is world class? And people have different opinions of that. And I think that's what Scunny's trying to get across. World class. I mean, if you were to pick a world 11, would Aubameyang get in it? I don't know if he would. Some people may put him in, some people would not. So does that mean he's world-class or does it mean he's not? Messi and Ronaldo have done it, are world-class, both of them, because they've got the ridiculous amount of Ballon d'Ors they've got. They're in everyone's first team. They're probably in the best in the world ever, along with Pele and Maradona. So, of course, they're going to be considered as world-class.
I'm going to agree with Manny. Messi is a bitch. Messi was.
Messi's a bitch.
Three or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago. I'd say Messi's probably right up there. World class? No, because he's only ever done it at Barcelona in Spain. If you're going to compare him to Ronaldo, he's done it in 3-4 different leagues.
Oh man, listen. Here's the thing about Lionel Messi, right? And I can't believe we're going to go into it anyway because we're talking about world class players, right? For me, when you are a world-class player, you're also world-class in your character, right? There's something about you that is just appealing, right? I look at Messi and I see a whiny, I see a pathetic little man who throws his toys at the pram when he doesn't get what he wants. He's done it a few times at Barcelona. He's done it with Argentina as well, right? He retired, and then when he saw things were going great, he came back again. I'm sorry. But we're talking about Aubameyang here, right? We're talking about Aubameyang. fuck Messi.
Playing devil's avocado, though, is that not what we loved Michael Jordan for? Because he was, this ain't going well for me, and I'm going to kick off until it goes well, until I get my own way.
Yeah, but listen, Michael Jordan's was a psychopath, though. Michael Jordan was a psycho who created scenarios in his brain that somebody was talking shit about him just so he can motivate himself to do it, And besides, 9 times out of 10, we don't even care about Michael Jordan unless you watch The Last Gig, The Last Dance. I loved him, from what I saw of him, and what I heard of him, because my older brother was a massive fan of his. But really, Michael Jordan never really came onto my radar until I watched The Last Dance. I'm like, yeah, you're a psycho. But I understand where you're coming from.
I knew a bit about him. I used to watch a bit of NBA as a kid, but that was back when towards the end of his days. So I didn't see him nowhere near the start of his days. But again, basketball's mostly played in the US, so could you call him world class? Well, then again, they call everything world class, don't they? So
yeah, that's true. My point about Aubameyang is that his stats are proving that he's world class at the moment, because if you look at the stats of his consistency over the last 3 years, he's right up there with Ronaldo, Messi, and Lewandowski. And if you believe that Ronaldo, Messi, and Lewandowski are world class, then perhaps you could put Aubameyang in that bracket. But if some people say that if you don't get into a world 11, then you're not world class, and I'm not sure that Aubameyang would, but some people might put him in. It's like Aguero. I personally love the guy. I think he's one of the best strikers that the Premier League's ever seen, up with Thierry Henry, right, for me. me. So it's depending on what people class as world class or say as world class. And at the moment, I can see both sides of the story, and I get where Scunny's coming from in terms of world class. Ronaldo and Messi is a great shout, though. I think both of them are world class, and I'll finish it on that.
No, I just said Ronaldo. I didn't say Messi so much.
No, I know. I'm saying Messi. You boys don't like him, but I just think he's amazing.
He's a whiny little bitch. I agree with that.
No, listen. I'm gonna be right in the middle with this, and I'm gonna agree with Leo Hagen in this. His strike rate is world class. You cannot deny that, especially when you look at the creativity within the team. This is a guy who has scored over 20 goals, close to 30 goals back-to-back seasons in a team that doesn't create. What will take him to a completely different level, right? And I agree with Scunny on this one, is if he does something that hasn't been seen at Arsenal Football Club yet. For me, what would take him close to world class is if he is the catalyst for Arsenal winning the Europa League. Because that's something that we haven't seen before. I believe that he gets us that Europa League. We cannot deny that he is world class, because he would have done something in a team that doesn't create, that has not been seen at Arsenal Football Club. I believe that he can do it.
I'll take that. I'll take that with you. I'll change. I agree with you. I'll change my opinion if that happens. Yeah.
If he listen, he's our leader right now, isn't he? When you think about Arsenal Football Club, instantly you think about Aubameyang, you think about Arteta, or if you're that way inclined, you think about ET. But Arteta is not Arteta. Aubameyang is the leader of what we are trying to do right now. He's the guy who is sacrificing his instincts in order to play out wide, and he's still scoring goals, right? And his strike rate is still unbelievable. This is the best striker in the Premier League. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Jamie Vardy. I don't want to hear Danny Ings. I don't want to hear Harry Kane. I don't even want to hear Aguero at the minute, right? Because he's injured a lot. I don't want to hear Aguero at the minute. Consistently, Aubameyang at this point in time is the best striker in the Premier League. Period.
He is.
Period. So for me, this is a guy, if he's committed his future to us, you have got to get the players around him in order for him to even somehow surpass his lofty standards. You have to. You have got to back him. If this club really wants to move forward with Arteta and Edu as their dynamic duo, right, as the modern day Wenger and David Dein, you've got to back them. And you've got to back the guy who is banging in the goals consistently for the last 2.5 seasons. Do
you think that if we don't sign anybody else, do you think that we're not backing Aubameyang in this window?
Man, if we do not sign anybody else, then we are doomed to repeat last season.
Okay, cool.
We're doomed to repeat it. I believe we'll be a bit more harder to beat. I believe that we will play better football, but at some point we'll come undone. Because this team, don't get it twisted. We need better players in this team. Hell, look at Willian's performance against Fulham.
Class, mate.
You need one more player of his ilk to come into this football club, but then you need a Partey type. Then you can start talking about, Arsenal Football Club going in the right direction. But right now, and this brings back to the overall topic of this whole thing, is that we are still hamstrung by some of the business that we've done in the past. So us going forward, as optimistic as we all want to be, you need to look in the review and understand that we still have an anchor. And until we let go of that anchor, Arsenal Football Club cannot fully go forward. That's the reality.
Well said, mate. Well said, mate.
Yeah.
That's the reality we're in. It's not all
Mm.
doom and gloom. Don't get it twisted, man. There's a lot of positives. There's Saka signing his new deal and being given the number 7 shirt. There's William Saliba. There's Gabriel who's just come through the door. These are defenders that you want to see at the club for the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm.
Hopefully 5
100%.
years.
100%.
Aubameyang just signed a new deal. You have, young players in Smith Rowe still to come
Martinelli.
to the side. Martinelli, who's still to come back. So there are positives to look at, but you also have to look at the anchor that may stop us from going where we want to go this season. And then this is because we put our trust in people who let us down continuously. And now we have 2 novices at their job, and we've given them the task. Go ahead and bring Arsenal Football Club out of the shadows and back to where we deserve to be.
Well said,
It's-
mate. Well said.
It's going to be a rough ride, but you know what? I don't see that there is not one Arsenal fan, unless you're that dickhead from Twitter. I forget what his Twitter handle is. The one that said who Arteta might be racist. I think I shared that tweet with you guys.
Oh my god.
What?
People like him. Yeah, I'll share the screenshot with you again, Scotty. There's people like that out there, but I don't believe there's people they're in the minority. But right now, the majority, I don't believe that there's an Arsenal fan right now who doesn't believe in what Arteta and Eddie want to do, and I don't believe there's one Arsenal fan at the minute who is not excited by the prospect of what we can be. You know what I mean? So we're gonna leave it at that, man. We're gonna leave it at that. I believe that.
Yeah, let's leave on a positive note, mate.
Let's leave on the positive note because hey, Aubameyang, like he said today, he signed the thing. We move forward. We see what happens with the transfer window, and we move forward. Look at the way we played against Fulham, right? There were a lot of positives to take away from that, and it's not just Fulham. It's City. It's Chelsea in the back end of last season. We are building something here. We're building a team that is starting to understand how to play football. And everybody should back that. So,
I totally
boys,
agree.
thank you for
100%.
fucking joining me, lads. Thank you for joining me on this, first hot topics of the season. There will be a lot more.
Sure,
to
it
come.
won't be the last.
No, it won't be the last because I'm pretty sure at some point I'm gonna want to strangle some of these players and we're gonna come on here and just cuss. But it's been a nice mellow. It's been a nice mellow one because we've got a lot of positive things to talk about. As much as I believe that the positives outweigh the negatives on this one. We need to believe that. Otherwise, we're gonna be miserable cunts for the rest of the season. So
We don't
Boys,
want another
I
season like that.
I had enough of that last year, man. Please, no more of that. Jesus, worst
nah,
ever.
man. It drained the life out of a lot of us, man. I don't need any more of that. But listen, to the listeners or the watchers or whatnot, thank you. There'll be more to come. Scunny, Potts, thank you for joining me, lads.
Cheers,
No
man.
problem.
I'll catch you lot on the next one, man.